So my first beautiful question for you is, what does happiness from within mean to you?
Oh, it's such a good question. Happiness from within is feeling at peace and just blissful in my own skin without needing to be anything other than what I am. I think that's my life mission.
Calling all women on planet Earth. I'm coming down to help you wake the heck up. Let's go, beautiful. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to another beautiful episode of Happiness from Within. I hope that you are as ecstatic as I am. As you know, our mission here is to touch people's hearts and souls at a very deep level through interviews. Today, I have a beautiful soul here today. Her name is Rhiah. Just to do a brief introduction, I'm gonna let her talk, but she's an award-winning writer, memorist, and educator whose work celebrates connecting authenticity and the beauty of living boldly. God, I love that. Ugh. She's the winner of Soul Making Keats Literary Award, and she's an Independent Spirit Award, I'm sorry, and the Independent Spirit Award for Film. Congratulations for that, by the way.
You.
And she's also created a transformative program such as the Passion Guide, the Sacred Sexy Course, and Principles of Love. And basically, you guys, her work empowers individuals to break free from the unconscious patterns and embrace sensuality, foster meaningful relationships, and above all, trust in themselves. And I actually want to show you guys a copy here of one of her books. This thing is so amazing. I'm going to quote something out of it a little bit later, but these, honestly, these poems, they're just so beautiful. I mean, it's got like these really beautiful designs. And anyway, so she's actually here in front of me. Hello, Rhiah. How are you today?
Hi, Janet. I'm great. Thanks for having me and thanks for the wonderful introduction.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and jump in. So my first beautiful question for you is, what does happiness from within mean to you?
Oh, it's such a good question. Happiness from within is feeling at peace and just blissful in my own skin without needing to be anything other than what I am. I think that's my life mission.
That's really, really beautiful. I love that. I love
Thanks.
that.
Hmm.
So take us back a little bit before you became the Raya with, all these beautiful accolades. Like where did your spirituality kind of journey begin? Like was it as a child? Was it in your teens or was it
Whoa, I've never actually answered this question in the context of my childhood, which is so interesting. Because I do remember feeling as a child there were these other, like worlds or dimensions somehow outside of the human form. And for me as a child, nature was always really big. I grew up in Canada, Calgary, Alberta, and with my family, we'd go to the mountains almost every weekend for skiing in the winter. And I remember at times when I was on the like bunny hill, we called the beginning hill the bunny hill, and I'd be skiing by myself while my parents went off to the higher level hills. And I just remember having these moments of communion with the mountains and feeling so much solace in their presence, like almost as if their presence was like that would be something I could have a conversation with. And so I don't know how old I was probably 7, 8, 9, around there sometime, where I would just have these imaginary conversations with the mountains in my head. And then it extended to having conversations with trees. And I just felt innately there was some wisdom that I got from these elements of nature that I didn't get from human beings. I didn't get it from my parents. I didn't get it from, yeah, really any form of human. So I do remember that, and that was very formative. So nature has always played a really big role in my life. And then further along the storyline, I would say I'd always been interested in meditation from a pretty early age, like in my 20s, mid 20s, yoga and just doing the things that I could to, have a positive mindset and to be guided in a way that was beyond what I saw outside of me, because honestly, the world I saw outside of me didn't match what I felt inside. And so I read a lot of books. Deepak Chopra was big, Conversations with God, Celestine Prophecies, like anything I could get my hands on that would help me get in touch with my intuition in my 20s was a big part of my journey. But I think the apex of my own spiritual journey happened in my late 30s when I was at a very significant intersection in my life where I was married and my husband and I at the time had made the decision to have a baby and my body shut down. And I had so many mixed messages in my heart and clearly in my body. And I just came to a breaking point where I prayed and asked for guidance, and I didn't know what to do because some things felt right, some things felt very off in our dynamic as well. Long story short, that led me to do many things. One of them was family constellation, which was a pivotal modality that brought me to the core of the dynamics that were living inside of me that I couldn't see from the outside. And it allowed me to see that so I could make other choices for myself. And then around the same time, before anyone I knew was talking about ayahuasca, I went to Costa Rica for 10 days and had a profound awakening that showed me the trauma that I had lived as a child, which I never thought was any big deal. I just thought, well, like everyone goes through things that are difficult with their family, but I saw the core of why I didn't trust in intimacy and why I'd been living in fear so much. And it was such a potent clarity and profound because all of my identity to that time, like to my late 30s, had been around, oh, this is just who I am, and not even realizing that I was living in fear. So that was really, that I would say the doorway to then deepening a practice of becoming very aware of who I thought I was versus who I really am in the inside, my essence, without the learned or conditioned ways of being. And then I just unfolded from there. And I mean, I could go on and on about this. I got deep into somatic work. I became a trained practitioner of trauma release work, facilitator of family constellations, and it continues to inform my everyday life. Even though I'm not practicing in those modalities right now, I took time off to write, but they're very much part of my spiritual journey for sure.
Wow, that's amazing. I just wanted to check something. You were getting a little bit staticky. Is your microphone in front of you or is it attached to you have?
It's my microphone is my computer.
Okay, okay, that's fine. It was just
Yep.
getting a little bit staticky. I just want to make sure.
It's all in one, it's staying in one position.
Okay, all right, no problem. Okay, well, let's continue. We're fine. I just want to make sure because people will get off the podcast if they hear any static. So,
Sure. Yeah.
yeah.
Is it okay now? You can hear me?
Yeah, I think it's fine. Do I sound okay?
Totally. Yeah.
Okay. All right, perfect. I
Yeah.
love what you were sharing, and I want to transition into another question if you feel comfortable,
Mhm.
answering this to the audience. Just curious because, I very deep about always talking about the soul, right? And you're right, like we all have gone through, one in every four people on this planet have gone through something traumatic, right? Painful. And I was just wondering when you were going through, those difficult times, like did you feel like you lost a part of your soul, like a part of yourself?
Oh, like I lost a part of my soul. I don't think I would have characterized it that way. in the way I experienced my awakening, it was more like I lost a part of my identity. Like
Mm,
I lost a part of me that was just so sure this is who I am. And
mm,
I lost a part of me that was so sure about the many ways I used to navigate relationships, work, everything in my life. And I did think, though, I don't know how I will ever not be this because it's all I know. And that was scary. And there were points where I felt it was so scary that I didn't know if I could do it. I didn't know if I could be a me that didn't have those lived imprints, and that wasn't operating from those lived imprints because it was so foreign. And that was terrifying. And that was, um, I felt desperate at times because I didn't know, I just didn't know if it was going to be possible for me. And I think at those times, um, there was a little bit of a feeling of life isn't worth living
mm,
unless I can be free of this.
mm,
And I think those were the dark nights of the soul for me. Um, it was more a real fear of not knowing if I could move through it. How would I move through it? And is it even possible?
mm.
Yeah.
Thank- Go ahead. Just that was just so great what you shared. I love that. I'm getting chills because um I if it's okay to just add to what you're saying, it's like what I kind of learned through, also going through very severe traumatic experiences as a child, it's like I kind of felt that I lost a part of my soul, just so broken, so fragmented, But at
Mm.
the same time too, I always felt um divinely protected, after these things had happened, it was kind of like life goes and you start to meet the right people to heal
Hmm.
your soul, and I'm just also very very intrigued that you studied this somatic. I definitely want to talk about that here in a few minutes, but yeah, it's just really profound what you were sharing, because we all have different experiences with that, um and at times, it's just people that I've talked to, and I'm sure you can relate to this, do you feel that you were the person that was chosen in your family to like basically break through all this? Like, because there's in the, it's like, 'cause I don't think we're taught, right? Like before, it's like there's just so many things that have happened in history and some people to trauma, like women, especially back in the days, even 100 years ago, like women weren't taught like how to somatic dance, right? Like, or embodiment, like that was like shameful, right? Well, depending what part of the world you were in, right? Because there are parts of the world where children grow up with that, like, right? Like in Africa, like it's very normal to see children, shaking it and getting releasing, right? They're taught that, but in most parts of the world it's like no, like you can't dress like that, right? And so but no, I really loved your answer, so I just wanted to honor you,
Oh, thank
it's just
you.
amazing.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
can you talk a little bit about, for those that are listening, what exactly is somatic for those that are listening, like what does that entail?
So somatic means related to the body. So it's the body's wisdom. And so an ex somatic experience is an experience that we have while we're aware and connected with our sensorial body. So all the sensations that we feel in our body that are in the right here, right now. And that's basically what somatic is in its
Mm,
very basic form. In terms of a healing modality, it harnesses the practice of being aware of and identifying sensation in the body and in the right here, right now, in order to um, connect with the feelings of safety, sensations of feeling grounded, calm, pleasure, aliveness, that can reroute and remap our nervous systems as to those qualities as a baseline. And as we're doing that, we let go and release physiologically from the body tension and trauma, that some of it has a story that comes with it, some of it doesn't, and it often doesn't always matter if there is a story that comes with the tension or trauma that we're releasing. But what's most important about the work is that we gain a sense of feeling safe in our bodies, and that becomes the new map instead of bracing for, uh-oh, something bad is going to happen too fast, too soon, and too much for me to be able to do anything about it, where there's a sense of loss of agency. So it's really a tool to integrate the nervous system in a way that allows us to feel free and fully expressed and safe in our bodies.
Wow. Is embodiment a part of somatic, or is that separate?
Well, I think, one of the things that I love about words and the personal growth arena is I think a lot of us carry our own definitions for what embodiment means.
Mm,
So I'll just say for me, embodiment is somatic. It's being able to live and breathe our essence through our skin and bones and musculature that's in a way that's unfettered and free. And there's nothing stopping that or hindering it or getting in the way of that. So that would be my definition of embodied, is like living the principles of, our greatest expression, really. That's what I relate it to, whether it's sensual, sexual, voice. Embodiment is, for me, embodying freedom.
mm.
So very, very much similar to,
Wow.
somatic is the tool, but embodiment is kind of the end result.
Wow. That's incredible. What does
Mm.
it look like for you to be in your highest self?
Well, that's a good question too. It's so related to this. It's so related to feeling fully myself in my full expression, and to be also in the flow and not, um, not hindered or weighted down by my mind in terms of what I think is best for me or what I think I need to be doing, but be harnessed and rooted and grounded in my intuition as much as I am in the flow of expression, and being in the dance of life with that. That for me is full embodiment, and an expression of my highest self is that light that lives within, living through the body effortlessly. That's my definition of it. Of course, the practice is always, you know, a different picture for a different day, depending on what I'm doing or feeling or expressing. But
Sure,
yeah,
sure,
being in
sure.
my highest self is an embodiment of my light.
Woo, I love it. What are
Mm.
some embodiment practices that you'd like to share that have really changed your life? Like, do you
Oh,
you like to
yes.
twerk? Do you do just the regular move? It's different for everyone, but I'm just really curious for you. What do you love to do? How do you like to embody? What's some
Well,
of
for me, dance, but more specifically, and what I learned through my own healing process is to be able to commune with myself through dance, which means I'm not necessarily dancing with someone or, going to a dance class and learning new moves where my mind is going to be focused on doing something right. It's really the practice of first allowing myself to connect deeply with what's alive on the inside,
mm,
and deeply listening for how that wants to be expressed through my body. And because a lot of my journey was about healing my relationship to my sensuality, sensual dance was a huge love for me, where I gave myself permission to move sensually in a way that I wouldn't feel safe doing, or in a way that I felt would be inappropriate, and really to listen to those impulses from the inside and allow them to be expressed through my sensuality. And there are two things that I learned, which I actually was doing intuitively, but I didn't know the science of it until I became trained as a somatic practitioner. And that is that the more slowly we move, the more we're able to be connected to our limbic brain, which is where we hold our emotional life. And there's a synopsis that happens in our muscles where when we're connected to that emotion and moving very slowly, we can have emotional releases much more easily. And so that is all to say that for me, moving slowly and being connected from the inside out is definitely one of my top number one loves, and then also practices that helps me to be embodied and to be, I would say, moving through my day more authentically because I've already been communing with what's alive on the inside and it's had space to move through my body, and I'm not holding on to it anymore. It's not taking up real estate in my mind or in my, muscles somewhere holding things together. It's had a space to be released. So that's something that I personally love, and it just feels good.
Wow.
So
I love
good.
it. No, I'm getting chills because this actually transitions to my next question. So, I'm part
Mm.
of this beautiful spiritual community, and we were
Mm.
recently talking about surrendering, right?
Mm.
And letting go. And, this is definitely something that's, as a human being on this planet, it's really hard to do because we're so distracted by this thing, right? And
Yeah.
just so many things, right? It's like, but I would love to hear, and I'm sure you have a lot of experiences, but anything maybe recently or just anything you'd like to share from your heart and soul
Mm.
of a time in your life when you literally completely surrendered and really just you got to that point that you just trusted. And I'm sure you were having all these obstacles, but it was just like you just kept moving forward and you really reached that goal.
Yes, I love this question. I had a moment during the pandemic where I was running a retreat house and it was going beautifully. And it was one of my dreams that I had had for many years. And finally, everything was running perfectly. And then COVID happened.
Ugh.
So what that meant is that I was required to shut down the business and refund all of these bookings that I had, which totaled over $100,000. I had zero income. It was my main source of income. And I was not allowed to rent to small groups. I fell in a very specific niche. I wasn't a hotel. I wasn't like a typical Airbnb where there could be two or three people staying in one place at a time, but it was really this inability to accommodate small groups that uh, kept me in a really, I mean, in a survival mode of not knowing what was next. And there were many things that happened in that period as the laws started to change, and then I was able to rent again. Long story short, the next thing I know, I had rented to one individual who lied about being an essential worker for the pandemic. That was one of the ways I was able to rent my space.
Okay.
And they had a she had a get out of jail party for her boyfriend at my retreat house.
Oh my goodness.
And the cops came, and my neighbor, of course, was incensed. And this led to a whole host of other issues. And all of my life, I had been so good at managing like the business side of things. And I had been so good at managing property. That's also been um, a parallel track that I've had for decades. And it was actually coming to a point where then I had to prove legally why and how I could continue as a business in the face of all these things that I was being pressure tested by. And I just lost it. I lost it. It was going to take so much of me to fulfill going through legalities, possibly going to court also to prove my case. Also living next to a neighbor who I knew was very definitely did not want my business running. And I had a choice to push through and keep on doing what I knew how to do very well or to surrender. And so I remember so well the moment where I just collapsed on my kitchen floor and had this conversation with myself like, I can't continue to do this. I can't continue to bend over backwards, fulfilling all of the powers that be while I'm at the mercy of all these changing rules and conditions that are out of my control. And I just prayed. I'm not a religious person, but my relationship with prayer is to just ask for help. And and I just knew that I couldn't keep on going the way I was going. And it was for me an identity death. Like I didn't know how I was going to be beyond letting go of this entire situation. But when I let myself really let go, and I mean have the grief that like express all of the grief, express all of the not knowing, let all the tears come out, then I was in a state of receptivity where I could receive, receive guidance, receive information about what the next step would be. And sure enough, it came within, I don't know, a couple of weeks. It was very clear that I was going to sell my business, this business that I loved and had put so much heart into.
Mm,
But I could connect with the sense of knowing that there was possibility beyond what I knew. And if I could just trust that on the other side, there's also going to be a whole other way of being
mm,
that I couldn't comprehend. So, in that picture that I painted, for me, the takeaway about surrender is it's it's really about letting go of the identity that got me so far in life that wasn't going to get me further by doing the same thing over and over again. And by letting go of that and having the courage to let go of that, then there's space inside to receive new information about a new way of being and just the next step forward. I'm a big believer in that, so much of the time, I think it's very human. We always want to know like a gazillion steps ahead to feel safe and to feel kind of like held in the guardrails of where we're going. But in my book, I have a definition for surrender that is surrender is a daily supplement. Um, but in a heightened situation like this, it's really letting go of doing all the things we know how to do in order to receive something that we don't know. That's kind of my experience with surrender.
wow. That's so beautiful. Can I read this one that you have for harmony?
Oh, yes, please.
You say, two hearts with resonant voices, void of completion, never setting an alarm. Harmony feels relaxed when everything is in its place. And when she feels relaxed, she feels at peace. Harmony is known to remind her friends that sometimes it's distance, not closeness, that will make you feel at ease. Page
Mm.
79, you guys, you got to get the book, okay? Life's Poetic Glossary.
Mhm.
All right. I'll put
Mhm.
the link below so you guys can get her book, okay? Support her business.
Oh,
But
thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Wow, that was amazing. My heart just feels so just full of just so much wisdom that you shared so far.
Yeah.
So I have another really interesting question for you. So If you knew you would not fail, what is the next step that you would take in your life today?
Mm. Oh, it's such a good flow of questions. Jeez. I haven't been asked this one in a while. It
Hmm.
feels really good. If I knew that I couldn't fail, I I would be on a stage tomorrow, speaking about these stories that support transformation, like really, really about the intimacy that we have with ourselves that can be so incredibly liberating. That's what I would be doing. And I am, taking the baby steps of doing that. Um, though I think there's a part of me too that does love to plan and that does love to curate things.
Yeah.
And if I knew that I couldn't fail, I would just do it tomorrow. Like, improv, no plan, or something like that. So, but that definitely feels like a calling that I've had inside and just makes me feel so joyful to think about it. So,
Wow, that's
yeah.
beautiful. Have you ever spoken on stages?
I have I've had different eras. So I was an actor for a decade of my life
Oh,
in New
that's
York.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, I have that in my background, but I see that as very different, where it's very much a craft where you're, embodying someone else's words and story. And then there was the era of my life later where I was being an ambassador for women's sensuality, where I did speak on stages on that topic. And so
Wow.
I've had moments and I have my own relationship with it, but not at this stage of my life, which is now a decade later since I've been on a stage, and it feels exciting in a new way.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Like, that's really inspiring. I mean, is that like how many people have you spoken in front of, if you don't mind me asking?
I think it would be in the hundreds. Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, in the hundreds at a time. Actually, you know what? It's not true. I recently spoke in New York. I can't believe I didn't think about this. I was invited to speak or to share poetry with Rupi Kaur. She's a poet who I long admired.
Wow.
And she had an event in New York that I was invited to share my poetry. And that was such an honor, such a blessing. And there was about, I don't know, 150 people there, maybe. It was a very intimate setting, which I love. So that was my most recent time on stage, which was just a few months ago.
That's amazing. Do you like want to get on stages to like share your message?
Yes, definitely.
That's
Yes.
beautiful.
I mean, my biggest drive is to offer shifts in perspective that open up the blinders and allow for possibility beyond what people might be able to see or imagine right now. And my greatest passion around that is that when we can trust ourselves and build that muscle of trusting ourselves over and over again and refine it more and more and more, it opens up that aperture to infinite possibilities. And so
Wow.
that's what I'm really passionate about in terms of intimacy with self, and that it also allows greater possibilities in terms of intimacy with others. So
That's
those
so
are my
that's so beautiful. No, I love it. Well,
thank
you're
you.
definitely gonna do it. You're gonna do it. Would you consider hiring a coach to do that, like to refine skills, or do you just feel confident to start
I do.
speaking?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm someone who works well in structure, so and I'm a prolific, like voracious learner student. So I'm currently in a class now that I'm really enjoying that's giving me the tools to create a 1 hour talk. So that's been really helpful. And then at some point beyond that, yeah, I love working with coaches. I find it makes it a lot more fun too, instead of just being in my own echo chamber. So I'm a big fan of coaches and giving structure to the creative process.
That's
So for
wonderful.
sure.
That's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
beautiful. I mean, I wish you good luck with that. I mean,
Thank you.
things
I'm
for you. Yeah.
excited. I'm super excited.
That's awesome. That's really great.
Yeah.
Um,
I love that too.
Go ahead. You were going to say something.
No, I was just gonna say like I love to do a hybrid on the topic of creativity. I find there's a very fine balance sometimes between the kind of like the original vision of what we're holding for ourselves inside that we might be able to connect with spiritually or in a way that we know in our bones is going to be the next expansive thing, and giving space to let that be expressed without schools or coaches or learnings to see what comes out naturally.
I
And
love
then
that.
there's also a time where the support and structure can be helpful, though in what I've learned about myself and my own creative process, it's good to have a lot of leeway on that runway of what do I really want to say? Like, what's most important for me to say before adding on structure? Because then I might just try to want to do things right and get it right. So that's what I've learned about myself, and that it's great to have the permission of just free reign for a while.
Oh, absolutely. I love that. I really love that. And the reason I was asking you these questions is because I'm excited for you because like it's something actually I want to pursue is like within,
Oh, wonderful.
next things in my life. I have a coach that I'm saving some money so I can do that. I really, really want to work with her because she's just amazing. She's helped literally thousands of people.
Mm.
And I'm manifesting that. So
Mm.
and she's helping to refine the message and help you to get on more because I need to get on more podcasts and shows. So but
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I'm really excited for you. So that's really great.
Yeah, we share that passion, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a wonderful it feels like a really wonderful refinement of self-expression to focus on storytelling this way. Have you found that as well in your own process?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just getting a download I wanted to share with you was just that like your message needs to be heard. Like you've have amazing story, and so much beautiful things that you've created and continue to create. So I see you speaking on big stages. That's what I wanted to say.
Oh, thank you. Those
Welcome.
kind of downloads. Nice reflection. Thank
Absolutely. So before we almost wrap up here, I just have one or two more questions if that's okay.
you. Sure.
Are we doing okay on time? Okay, yeah. Okay. I wanted to ask you was how do you want to be remembered when you take your last breath?
Shanna, you've got some good questions. Well, I want to be remembered as someone who is, you know, a, an example of unbridled freedom
Hmm.
in terms of being joyfully, blissfully, sensually, fully expressed, and who offered others a doorway to do that for themselves too. That's what I would really love to be remembered for is a legacy of freedom. And
Hmm.
so feel like every story that I have in my life has been guided by this profound desire for freedom. I have a poem in my book that's called Becoming, and it refers to this notion of like when we feel something so deeply inside and we get to have congruence with what that looks like on the outside. There are a gazillion steps that allow us to come into that becoming, but to be exalted in that way, and to not feel any boundary or barrier between that essence that lives inside me and my skin and with others on the outside. If something like that could be on my tombstone, I'd be very happy.
Hmm.
I feel like that would be a life well lived.
Wow.
I
That's
might need
beautiful.
to use ChatGPT to condense that to make it more succinct.
I have to say, I've been loving ChatGPT. There's some pretty amazing things going on there.
It's amazing. I've been blown away the last couple of days.
That's so great. One of my last questions for you is I would love to know what are some of your core values that you live by
Mhm.
on a daily basis? Like what are some of your core values if you feel comfortable sharing some of those
Absolutely.
that embody you as a person? Like I have to live by these core values. If not, it's
Mhm.
just not me.
Yeah.
And you pour that into your everything you do in your business, your
Mhm.
friendships, you're very particular who you hang out with, like just really intrigued to know what are you can
Mhm.
share one or two if you feel comfortable.
Yeah. The ones that come to mind right now are beauty,
Mm,
truth,
mm,
freedom,
mm.
connection, and a sense of being wild.
The simple pleasures, I saw that in your bio. That's really cool.
Oh, yes.
Fuzzy socks, belly laughs, breaking the rules. I love it.
Yes. Yeah, being wild, that's a little bit of the breaking the rules too. Yeah, absolutely. Wild for me too is this is another line in my book for the poem Wild is choosing yourself over being chosen.
Mm,
For me about breaking the rules too, or choosing the world that we want to create instead of waiting to be chosen into a world or into a creative project or into a relationship, but really choosing ourselves
wow.
first. Mm.
Choosing ourselves first. I love that.
Mhm.
I really love that.
Mm.
Well, this has been really amazing. So the thing that I do is towards the end of the podcast, I'm just going to open up the floor one last time for anything you'd like to share from your heart and soul that can touch people's hearts at a deep level. Anything that comes up, any last minute things that you'd like to share.
Oh, yes. I just would love for anyone and everyone who's listening to remember that we have all of the answers we need inside in the heart. And if we just slow down to listen, we get to build that muscle of trusting ourselves over and over again. And the more we listen and the more we follow through, the more we build the backbone of being who we're meant to be in the freest form. And so my invitation is and kind of final note would be to slow down, connect, listen, and trust.
Mm,
That's it in a nutshell.
mm. Wow, I love that. That is a beautiful happiness nugget for you guys. A jewel you can take to connect with yourself from within and find your happiness from within.
Absolutely.
Well, I really want to thank you so much for being a guest here on Happiness from Within. We're going to put all of your links below. And again, thank you so much for being a guest here on Happiness from Within. We'll definitely have to do a second round in the future.
I would love that. Thank you so much for having me. I love these questions. They're just so illuminating and inspiring for everyone, I'm sure. So
Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome. I forgot to ask you, where are you based out of? If you don't mind me asking, what?
I live in Los Angeles.
Oh, you are in LA. Oh, I'm in LA too. That's so funny.
Oh, are you? Ah, that's right. I remember. I do remember clocking that a few weeks ago, but I forgot.
Let me give me one second. Let me just um sorry. So thank you guys so much for being listening here at Happiness from Within, and we will catch you on the next episode.